Good evening, everyone, and welcome to True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Playa, and the Stars. I am Benny Scala, a.k.a. the Playa, a.k.a. Benny the Jet, a.k.a. the ringleader as well. And with me, as always, is my lovely co-host. She's a professional wrestling Hall of Famer, the queen of the oldies airwaves, as well as the pet mom of the ordained minister / mayor, Archibald Paddington. Now, legend has it that the legendary Mongolian stomper Archie Gouldy once watched one of her matches and said, "Wow, you're rough." And I could only be talking about the one and only Boston bad girl, Brittany Brown. Brittany, how are you?
I am great. How are you guys?
Did you ever work with Archie Gouldy?
Never even heard the name.
Mongolian stomper. He was big in Calgary.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think he wrestled much like in this, New England area.
Big scary guy.
I don't think I ever heard of him here before.
Literally one of the greatest heels of all, and one of the most vicious heels of all time for him. So for him to say, "Wow, you're rough, man," it's saying a lot.
Yep. I'm a biatch.
Now, have you guys ever watched Curious George?
Yes.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So the gentleman is called the man with the yellow hat, right?
Correct.
Okay, well, we have the man with the black hat, and he is basking in the glory of his Pittsburgh Steelers victory over those shitty Vikings. Here is Dangerous Dave Starr.
Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. I've been down in the weather a little bit over the weekend, some migraines, but the weekend was pretty good. Any Sunday with football is good. I hope everybody had a great weekend. We got a very interesting podcast tonight. I don't know if people can see over my shoulder, but I got my Hall of Fame plaque up on the wall next to my beautiful Rod Stewart album. That's a clock, Footloose and Fancy Free album. But I want to say I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me. And I got to say this, because this is the truth. I loved Robert Blake and Beretta. I love that TV show. I used to watch him Sunday night.
Great show. Excellent show.
Yeah.
Well, we have in our chat room P2.0. So I think we have something to say to 2.0, don't we?
We do.
All right. You going to lead us, Brittany?
We do.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy
Happy
birthday to you.
Happy
birthday, dear Denise.
2.0.
Happy birthday to you.
Yay.
Yay.
Happy birthday.
I'd like to give her a little Chippendale dance.
All right, here we go.
A Chippendale dance for Denise.
Damn.
A wholesale one, I guess,
All right. Well, happy birthday, Denise. Many, many more. So, guys, for those of you in Radio Land, thank you for listening on Want Radio. They got what you want. We're also available on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Player, FM, Podchaser, and Boomplay. And for those of you watching for the first time on YouTube, see the little like and subscribe. Please do so. We'll be very indebted to you. So, guys, tonight we're going to take a look at the murder trial of Mickey Gubitosi. And you're saying, who the hell is that? But if I say Beretta or I say Robert Blake, you know exactly who I'm talking about. So only fitting that Robert Blake was an actor, because this case has more drama than a week's worth of Jerry Springer shows. And as always, the bad girl will take us through the facts of the case. And after that, we'll all give our thoughts and opinions.
I'm sorry. Can I just say one thing to Denise? I'm sorry. I tried to do the best wholesale Chippendale dance that I could on short notice, but I gave it the best I could.
Well, Brittany, before you start real quick, Terrible Tari has a question for her dad. Are you smoking a chocolate cookie stick?
Wow. No, I'm not. I'm just high on life, brother. High on life.
Oh. Okay.
Ooh. All righty then. Okay. All right. Well, I think all of us.
Oh, come on. I thought it was great. Come on. Come on, Tori.
Hey, I kept my clothes on.
That's
Could
right.
have been worse.
She'll be on the floor.
Oh, it wasn't that bad.
We haven't heard from Denise since. She might have been so enthralled that she's
You think?
not
No, she.
on the floor.
No, she. There you go. Thank you very much.
Oh,
No, she loved
see?
it.
Very welcome, Denise. You're very welcome. For $2.99,
Right.
for $2.99, I'll put a Speedo on.
You know, that's a Dave. Maybe like get into cameos. You can do something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. $2.99. I'll lap dance for you.
That's a
in my
bargain.
Speedo. Just have a barf bag next year. That's all.
Stop.
Oh, we got to shout out to the genius. Hi, Tiffany.
Oh,
Goodness.
wait.
Hi, Tiffany.
We miss you.
We miss
Is there
you,
a
is
full moon?
right.
Is there a full moon tonight or something? All the crazies are out.
Yeah, they're all here.
Okay. Robert Blake was born Mickey Gubitosi on September 18th, 1933, which is the same year as my mother was born. He was born 2 days before my mother
Oh, wow.
in Nutley, New Jersey, though
Home of
some
Chief
sources
Louis
list
Strongbow.
nearby towns. He was one of several children, and from a very young age, he was thrust into show business. His family performed as a street act known as the Three Little Hillbillies. At age 5, he was cast under the name Mickey Gubitosi in the MGM Short Subjects lineup and in Our Gang comedies, The Little Rascals. He also took bit parts as a child in films like The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. As he grew older, he struggled to escape the child star pigeonhole. But over the decades, he gradually built a resume of increasingly prominent roles. He played the real-life murderer. How interesting that is. Perry Smith in the 1967 adaptation of Truman Capote's In Cold Blood, a performance that remains among his most acclaimed. His greatest popular success came in television from 1975 to 1978. He starred as Tony Beretta, a scrappy, wisecracking, plainclothes detective, for which he won an Emmy in 1975. I am not surprised. Over time, though, his career never reached the heights some might have expected after In Cold Blood, and he would later become known more for the scandal surrounding his life than for his art. But behind the veneer of stardom, Blake's personal life was turbulent. He married actress Sandra Kerr in 1961. They had two, she's pretty. They had two children, Noah and Delina, before divorcing in 1983. All right, that was a good long time. 22 years they were married?
Yeah.
Over time, he drifted. Fewer steady roles, rising financial and emotional pressure, and a tendency towards reclusiveness. Parallel to Blake's arc is the saga of Bonny Lee Bakley, often rendered Bonny Lee Blakely or variants. She was born June 7th, 1956 in Morristown, New Jersey, to Edward and Marjorie or Margorie Bakley, though she spent parts of her childhood with her grandmother. She was troubled early on, bullied in school, frequently restless, and apparently fascinated by celebrity and excitement. She dropped out of high school at 15 and moved to New York to try modeling and acting, studying at the Barbizon School. Her romantic history became the stuff of legend. By the time she met Blake, she was have said to have been married 9 times.
9 times?
9 times?
9 times.
Wow.
Previously.
Wow. I've never even been married. No girl's been lucky enough to wrangle me in. This girl's 9 times? Wow.
9.
9 times.
Well, it's pretty
Some
good.
of those-
Yeah.
But some
Wow.
of them were very briefly, and one only lasting a day.
I think
So
the one that
Blake-
lasted a day was some 88-year-old guy, and he set the record for being like the Guinness Book of most marriages. Like he was married 27 times, and she was one of them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
I had no idea.
Wow.
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 So Blake
Well,
became her
it's a good-
10th husband.
Wow. Well, it's a good thing I never got married because I find as I got older, sometimes in the middle of the night I got some gastritis. I wouldn't want nobody laying next to me. So
You could probably get indicted for that if something happened to them, right? I don't know.
Right.
Use of a lethal weapon.
Well, especially after I have chili or something, not too good.
Taco Tuesday and the resulting blowout.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Brittany's gonna have to do a Tiffany and turn the screen off.
Brittany, all right? Brittany, I know you farted before, so don't be hiding behind, you know you fart.
Women don't fart.
They do, but they don't own it.
You know, when I had a female dog and a male dog, only the male dog farted. I'm telling you.
Oh, okay. So I have Bree, and I take Bree for car rides every day, and there's been a couple of times her gas was so bad that I'm surprised I didn't wind up in a ditch after I blacked out. So
God bless that breed.
Female
God
dogs
bless
do have
her.
gas. I'm sorry,
All
Bree. I love you.
So much for that theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Blake became her 10th husband. Many of her marriages and relationships were entwined with her schemes. She developed a reputation as a con artist, placing Lonely Hearts ads.
Geez, we got another. It's got to be a full moon tonight. Now Ronald Esposito is in the chat room. It's got to be a full moon. It has to be.
So she was placing Lonely Hearts ads, soliciting funds from men under varied aliases, sending erotic photos for profit, forging documents using credit card fraud, and various more elaborate scams. She associated herself with some famous names, claiming affairs or parentage, including a dubious flirtation with Jerry Lee Lewis and a later affair with Christian Brando, the son of Marlon Brando. In fact, when her child Jerry Lee was born in 1993, she claimed the father was Jerry Lee Lewis, a claim disproved by DNA testing.
I guess there wasn't a whole lot of shaking going on, right?
Yeah. Hey, who wouldn't want Jerry Lee Lewis as their father? No. A lot of fun there. A lot of murder and
This
fun.
lady, though, did you guys ever watch The Munsters when Herman was a wrestler?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and every time Herman got in the ring, of course, he overpowered his opponent. But they, if I lose this match, they'll repossess my sister's banjo, and she'll be kicked out of the Boston Symphony. And then he'd go on his back. I mean, she used so many angles. My mother's sick. My brother's sick. My grandma. She had like a bunch of different names, and she had a notebook that she had to use to keep track of who she was scamming for what, because that's all she did.
It was her full-time job, literally.
Her job was scammer, yes.
Yep.
And she was apparently very good at it.
I guess so. I mean, she even got...
She was good at it until she got shot in the head, I guess.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Just one mistake.
Yeah, one mistake. One big one that ended her job.
She lost
So her
head.
obsession with celebrity, her financial schemes, and her volatile relationships earned her many enemies over the years. She cultivated a persona.
Gotta respect an honest woman.
Oh, yeah, she's disgusting. I've been around here when she's let loose. Not good. Not good at all. Terrible Tory has terrible farts. And speaking of terrible Tory, I'd like to have prayers tonight out there because my grand dog, Dookie, has to go in for an operation Wednesday. So I'd like to have everybody's prayers for Dookie.
Yes.
Please. Thank you.
Prayers
for
Dookie.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, she cultivated a persona of glamour, danger, and allure, and behind it, she often depended on manipulation, fraud, and myth. It was in the late 90s that her orbit intersected Blake's. According to reporting, they met at a jazz club in 1999. By that time, she was also involved with Christian Brando. And when she became pregnant, she initially claimed the baby was his. Blake, however, insisted on a paternity test. The results, the child born in June 2000 was his. The child's name was initially Christian Shannon Brando, but legally changed to Rose Lenore Sophia Blake. The biggest mistake, Blake agreed to marry Bakley, but only on strict terms. He demanded that she sign a temporary custody agreement under which she would have supervised visits, restrictions on who she could bring onto his property, and a clause deciding custody in the event of separation. She was warned by her attorney that the terms were lopsided, but she signed on October 4th, 2000. They married in November 2000. A marriage that in practice was fractious from the start and was, for most of its duration, de facto separate.
Yeah. She was staying in the bungalow, pretty much, right? I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, Sunday, growing up in my house, Sunday nights were great. You had what was it, every 2 weeks, you'd have Beretta, you'd have McLeod, you'd have McMilligan and wife. You'd have what am I missing? Conrad.
Columbo?
He was in
Columbo.
And the fat guy, Conrad, what was his called? Remember him?
Yeah, I know you're talking about, yeah.
Perry Mason.
What? No, this guy, his real name was Conrad in real life, but he also had a show. I forget what it was called.
Not a Y50, was it?
No.
I know who you mean now. Oh, I can't think of his name. We'll think of it.
He had the mustache, a little mustache.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I can see it in my mind's eye.
Yep.
Okay, so Bakley and Rose lived in a small guest house near Blake's main residence in Studio City, where Blake largely maintained separate quarters. Blake, suspicious and distrustful, hired private investigators, smart move, after the fact, to dig into her past and suspected she continued her con activities even during the marriage. On the evening of May 4th, 2001, Blake took Bakley out for dinner at Vitello's, an Italian restaurant in Studio City. I've been there.
Oh, nice.
After dinner, they walked from the restaurant to Blake's car, parked around the corner, and Blake would later claim he suddenly realized he had left his gun inside the restaurant because, everybody does that. So he went back to retrieve it. And when he returned to the car, Bakley was shot twice and dying. He said she sat slumped in the passenger seat. He rushed to a nearby residence, banging on the doors for help. A neighbor called 911. The crime scene was gruesome with blood everywhere. Investigators soon found a Walther, am I saying that right? A Walther pistol. believed by some to match the bullets used in the killing, discarded in a trash bin about a block and a half from the scene. Its serial number had been filed off, making tracing ownership difficult. A restaurant busboy contradicted Blake's scenario. He said he had cleared Blake and Bakley's table and did not observe a gun left there. Though gunshot residue was found in small amounts on Blake's hands, the defense argued that the amount was inconsistent with having fired a gun. The LAPD treated Blake as a suspect, but did not immediately arrest him. Nearly a year later, on April 18th, 2002, Blake was arrested and formally charged with murder, 2 counts of solicitation of murder and conspiracy with special circumstances tied to the killing of Bakley. His longtime bodyguard, Earl Caldwell, was also charged with conspiracy. The prosecution's core theory was that Blake had attempted, through retired stuntmen, to hire hitmen to kill Bakley. And when those efforts failed or stalled, he had done the deed himself. In building its case, the prosecution introduced testimony from 2 former stuntmen, Ronald Duffy Hambleton and Gary McLarty, who asserted Blake solicited them to kill Bakley. But the defense strongly attacked their credibility, noting both had histories of drug use, were inconsistent in recollection, and may have been susceptible to pressure. The defense also contended that others who had been wronged by Bakley's schemes might have motive to kill her, or that the chain of proof had too many gaps to conclusively tie Blake to the crime. The trial opened in December 2004 and stretched into early 2005. Blake did not testify in the criminal trial. The prosecution painted a portrait of a man who resented Bakley, feared losing custody of Rose, and was willing to act violently to control his fate. But ultimately, the jury concluded that the evidence was not strong enough. So on March 16th, 2005, after several days of deliberation, Blake was acquitted of murder and 1 solicitation charge. The other solicitation count ended in a hung jury and was dismissed.
Dave, wasn't that
According
a movie you rented? An adult film?
What's that?
I think that was an adult film that Dave was in, Hung Jury.
Yeah. Yes. It would, if I was in it, it would say a very hung jury.
There you go.
According to the jury foreman, they couldn't put the gun in his hand. But that was not the end, folks. In November 2005, the children of Bakley, represented by her estate and surviving siblings, pursued a civil wrongful death suit against Blake. In civil court, the standard of proof is lower than in criminal court. The jury found Blake liable for the intentional death of Bakley and awarded $30 million in damages. Oh, the show was canon. She's right.
Thank you, Mrs.
She's
P.
right,
Thank you,
canon.
Mr. P.
Thank you. That's the show.
right.
I used to love. Yeah, I used to love that show too. They'd have a rotating, like every week they'd
A
have
lot of
something
good
different.
shows. A lot of good detective shows and a lot of good Western shows.
Yeah,
And
they
if
were
I'm
great.
if I'm not mistaken, they were on Sunday nights.
You were correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So 30 million in damages. Blake appealed in April 2008. An appeals court upheld the verdict, but reduced the award to 15 million. The judgment and legal expenses ultimately led Blake into bankruptcy. Meanwhile, custody of Rose Lenore Sophia Blake became a matter of intense dispute. After Blake's arrest, his adult daughter, Delina, from his earlier marriage, was granted temporary guardianship and custody of Rose. At the criminal trial, Delina testified that she had formally adopted Rose in August 2004, while the case was pending, and that she had raised her along with her husband in Sherman Oaks. In court, she described Rose in her early infancy as withdrawn with developmental concern, though Rose improved over time. After Bakley's death, other family members of Bakley also sought visitation and contact with Rose, subject to Delina's custody. Rose, of course, was only 11 months old when her mother was killed. As she grew, she lived largely outside of the public eye, raised by her sister Delina and her husband. For many years, she had little contact with her father. She reportedly last saw him when she was about 5. In 2019, at age 19, Rose began to open up publicly about her childhood, telling People magazine she referred to Blake as Robert, not Dad. She said the experience was traumatic, that her life had been defined by the public controversy, and that she had struggled with anxiety, depression, and identity. She also visited her mother's grave for the first time at age 18 and reinitiated contact with Blake. Their conversations touched on the murky and painful history between the two families. As for the question of guilt, Rose in public said she didn't believe there was much point in deciding whether her father did or did not commit the crime. It would not change her emotional reality. In later years, Blake lived much quieter, constrained by his debts and legal judgments, while still occasionally giving interviews or attempting limited work. He died on March 9th, 2023, at age 89 of heart disease. His obituary in many outlets emphasized the dual legacy, a career that began in the earliest days of Hollywood's child acting machinery and a later life overshadowed by a murder trial and the court's finding of civil liability. Today, as ever, the murder of Bonny Lee Bakley remains officially unsolved. No one has ever been convicted for pulling the trigger. The many tangled threads, the history of schemes and enemies, the gaps in forensic proof, the conflicting testimonies leave space for doubt, speculation, and what ifs. Robert Blake's story is a tragic odyssey from child star to embattled defendant. Bakley is, in part, the saga of a woman who gambled on notoriety, deception, and ambition. And between them, their daughter Rose carries the legacy, a life shadowed by fame, loss, and the persistent questions of truth.
Wow. So what do you
I
guys?
got a trivia question for you.
Go
I got a
ahead.
trivia question. And so this is kind of easy. I don't know, but I'll throw it out there. In the TV show Beretta, he actually did that with an animal. Does anybody know what that animal was?
I know the animal, but I don't know its name. So it was a parrot, right?
Yeah,
Right. He used to have a parrot on his shoulder. I don't know what the parrot's name was, but
a
right,
white
he used to have
parrot.
the parrot. Right, he used to have the parrot on his shoulder.
Somebody out there is going to name the parrot too. I'm sure.
I'll bet you Mrs. P's gonna know.
Yeah.
Well, she's still trying
Yep.
to catch her breath from the dance I did. So,
Yeah.
uh,
So what do you guys think? Brittany, did he do it?
Yes.
well,
Yes.
I'll tell you this much to everybody out there in podcast land too. If you've never seen him on Piers Morgan, the talk show Piers Morgan, go watch it because that guy was fucking loony. That guy hit a screw loose. Great actor, but not too smart in real life. But what I don't understand is so in order for him, did he actually go back to the restaurant, or did he just shoot her, kill her, and get rid of the gun and just say he went back to the
I knew they'd know.
Fred.
Right.
I knew they'd know. One of them, I knew. Thank you, Denise.
Nobody at the restaurant said that he came back. In fact, because I guess he came back allegedly to get his gun.
Right.
But nobody saw that. They only saw him after that when he came back, asking for help.
Right.
Okay, so
Right.
he shot and killed her, and he told the police he went back to look for his gun, and when he came back, she was dead.
Yeah.
So, all right, so
That was the storyline.
He's in
exactly.
the same category. He's in the same category as what's her name we did a couple weeks ago. Who killed her little infant daughter there? Got away with it. What's her name? She went to trial. Baez represented her.
Casey
Anthony. So they're all in the same category. They all got away with it.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing too. Like, they went to that restaurant. I guess Blake was going there twice a week for like 20 years. And normally, like every other time, he used valet parking. Well, this one time he parked on this, I guess, a side street, like in the middle of nowhere, not very well lit, and the street light was broken. So he chose that place to park. So that, I mean, geez, how obvious can you get?
Right.
Yeah. And then this is the thing that I don't get. I don't understand with the bus boy's testimony saying I cleaned the table off, there was no gun, and the fact that nobody saw him go back to get the gun. How did this guy not get convicted?
Right. I guess again, I think nowadays though, I think there probably wasn't any cameras outside the restaurant.
No, definitely not.
I think it might be a little bit of a different story because immediately they could contradict that. It's like, wait a minute, no, we only see, we see you coming back once, not twice.
Yep, but this was well before cameras.
And I mean, I think they were married like all of 6 months. He didn't want to marry her, very reluctantly. And I think she threatened because at some point she was in California, and I think he set it up where she was on probation, I believe in Arkansas, for something else, another scam. Yeah. And he supposedly ratted her out to the Arkansas authorities, and they came and got her. And, so he could have custody of the kid. And I guess she was she was threatening to have him brought up on kidnapping charges, which he's the parent. I mean, but I think he just caved in. I think she said, either you marry me or I'm going to file kidnapping charges, or you're going to have to pay me like $8,000 a month. And I guess that was the marriage was the path of least resistance.
Wow.
But I mean, it's obviously not something he wanted. And I mean, I'm sure he resented the shit out of her. Plus with all of her other crap going on.
Right, yeah. But wasn't that his defense that somebody else killed her that she was involved with, like scamming?
Well, right? I mean, quite honestly, there were a lot of people out there that had, I don't know about wanting her dead, but they had reason of wanting her, mess with really bad. Because she
I'm sure a lot of men. Think about it. You just married Robert Blake, the actor, and you scammed me out of $5,000. I'm coming to get my $5,000 back now.
I'm coming for my payoff, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep. All those guys wanted their money back when she married him.
Right. The stakes went up. All right. Now you got a cash cow. Now you got a millionaire husband.
Yep.
Which leads me to ask, is there a possibility he didn't do it?
I don't think so. I mean, I think at the very best, he got somebody to do it for him, but I don't even think that. I think he did it.
Well, let's ask the people out in the podcast. What do you people think in the podcast land? True crime podcast. Do you think he did it, or is he innocent?
Yeah. Let's do a poll and let's see what we get for numbers.
Anybody who's out there did Robert Blake off this Bakley lady? I'm going to vote yes. I mean, I don't know if our votes count, but
I'm going to say because there's too many discrepancies in this. The one thing that really stands out is the parking. That's what
Yeah.
really stands out. Like,
Right.
you've always used the valet parking, and on this night for 20 years, and on this night you didn't use it.
I
The
mean,
night
I
your wife
park
got shot.
every day at Grandma Sally's. I park in the same spot. I get there between 6:59 and 7:01. I sit in the exact same booth every day. You know, if one day, you know, I parked in the medical center across the street, and something, you know, foul happened. You know, it's like, why did you park? You know, for the last 900 days, you parked in this spot. Why did you choose today? You know, same thing with him. 20 years, twice a week, and this time, you know, the one time you don't use valet parking, this lady's dead.
Well, just be careful there, player, because you know, I don't know if there's any pregnant woman out there looking for you, so they might know, you know, they might know where to find you now at Grandma Sally's. So just be careful. You know,
Yeah,
they'll call you player for nothing.
they don't. No,
You
I've been chased by a bunch of women with sticks that were lit on fire. So yeah, I still got a little bit of foot speed, thank God.
Well, God bless you. Well, were they blind, or did they have glaucoma, or?
They had those walkers with the tennis balls on the front. So I was, you know, yeah.
Okay.
I was actually running. I was running backwards and taunting them, you know.
Right. With all that flowing hair everywhere.
They bumped into a lot of shit too. I forgot about that.
Come back here, Jesus. I mean, player, come back here.
Yeah, well, you know, that oxygen tank that kind of weighs you down too. Like,
Right. Well,
No, he's got the young waitresses after him. Come on, Benny.
I'm taking the piff. She might be listening. You saw that?
Oh boy,
You saw my little placemat from Sunday, right?
Yes.
I saw that. And it seems to me that you get the bigger sausages, and the other customers are getting the little ones. I don't know.
Actually, it's never mind.
Well,
Somebody's getting a bigger sausage. I'm going to leave it at that.
well, Tori. Speaking of bigger sausages, Tori says yes, he did it. Terrible. Tori
Okay.
says yes, she thinks she did it.
All right.
I don't know about Espo. Espo hasn't voted yet. I don't see anybody else chiming in, but Terrible Tori says yes.
You know,
Okay.
but this is a unique case because, you know, a lot of times, what do you talk about? You talk about motive. And did Robert Blake have a motive for her to be offed? Absolutely. But like we just said, this lady double-crossed, probably hundreds of guys. And now all of a sudden you got, you know, like we said, you got a multimillionaire husband and, you know, I want my money back now. That's got motive written all over it.
There's a lot of people that had a motive to kill her. Yeah. A lot of people had a motive to kill her.
And what about Christian Brando, who originally thought that was his child?
Well, yeah.
Come again?
What is this lady? She got Jerry Lee Lewis. She's got Christian Brando.
As long as you have Dangerous Dave Starr, that's
now,
all.
Christian Brando did a stretch in jail, right?
Yep, he did. He did. Yeah, he certainly did.
And didn't Jerry Lee Lewis marry his 13-year-old cousin?
Correct.
She's going after the fruitcakes. Can't go right. Go after I don't know, Steve Reeves or something like that.
Do you know why he did time in jail, Christian? What? You know why he did time in jail?
No.
Wasn't it drugs?
Huh?
Wasn't it drugs?
I may be wrong. But I thought he killed his sister's boyfriend.
He did. He
Oh,
did.
shit. Wow. So how
He did.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah, he killed. It was over. Was it in Trinidad or Caribbean, or wasn't it somewhere? He went and killed his.
I think it was on Marlon Brando's private island.
Right.
So she's setting her sights low. She's going after damaged goods. She's going after, a jailbird. She's going after a guy who married his 13-year-old cousin. Beretta at least had some sense of normalcy. Why don't you go after Tom Selleck or something like that. Go after Jimmy Olsen from Superman, whatever the hell his real name was.
Well, I mean, I think the normal guys wouldn't have given her the time of day.
No, you're absolutely right. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, this was her wheelhouse. At least she had a chance with these guys because she was a good-looking girl.
Well, yeah. I've been told that Espo's showering in the shower right now, so I hope he's smelling nice and clean for you tonight, terrible Tory. Maybe I'll get another grandchild.
That would be the worst thing in the world, right?
No, absolutely not.
Children are a blessing. Unless they're at a wrestling match, at the front row at Brittany's match, then they're not a blessing.
Yeah, then they're jerks.
Then they're
right.
Little rat bastards.
Right. Exactly.
I want to let everybody know out there in podcast land, true crime podcast land, that on October 27th, we will have a special Halloween episode.
Oh, boy.
We're putting it together now, all of us. Just to let everybody know, October 27th, a special Halloween true crime podcast.
Don't miss that one. Don't miss any of them, but don't miss that one.
That's right.
Bela Lugosi might make an appearance. Who knows?
Oh.
Or it's the other guy, the other scary guy. My dad called him Carve His Balls Off.
Boris Karloff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Lon Chaney. He might make an appearance.
Those are like some epic horror figures back in the day. I mean,
you know who was scary
now? Totally.
You know who was scary? And I forgot about this guy. And you might remember him. But I watched, you ever hear of Svengoolie? I watched Svengoolie on Saturday nights.
Never saw it, but I've heard that mentioned.
All right, so Svengoolie has a horror movie every Saturday night. And Saturday night he had
sorry.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Saturday night he had the Darren McGavin was in it. It was called The Night Strangler, not the Night Stalker, but The Night Strangler. And in it was a guy that used to play. He played a lot of horror movies too. Was Carradine. I forget what his first name was.
Oh, John Carradine.
Keith or John?
Well, his
I think
kids.
John was the dad. Keith was the son. There was Keith and David were the sons, I think.
Right. He had a bunch of sons.
That's right.
Right. So yeah, but he was in that movie Saturday night. So they went through his the movie career. And I said, hey, you know what? I forgot all about this guy when you think of famous scary people. But he did a lot of Dracula movies and a lot of horror movies. John Carradine, right? Because then he had his sons. That one of them was the karate guy there.
The Kung Fu guy, and the one that sang "I'm Easy."
Yeah, so he had a bunch of sons. Keith Carradine, David Carradine, but yeah, I forgot all about him. He was pretty good.
Now, would you throw Vincent Price into that category? Was he?
Wow.
Or was he creepy?
Absolutely. Him and Betty Davis.
He was a great actor. I think he was very good.
Didn't he play Egghead in Batman?
He did. Yeah.
All right, I got a good trivia question. What was his last movie?
Oh.
Whose last movie?
Vincent Price.
His last movie, huh? That's a tough one.
Is she right?
What's that?
Was Tori right?
No, she was talking about something else. I think he mentions that Darren McGavin.
Oh,
said,
okay.
Well, maybe Shooter McGavin.
Yeah,
that's from
just
Happy
let the young audience know out there. Darren McGavin, who I'm talking about, was also in A Christmas Story. But before he was in A Christmas Story, he was in the horror movies, the Night Stalker and the Night Strangler, and then Kolchak, the series. That's who he played, Carl Kolchak.
Oh,
all righty. Now, the answer to the question is the last movie he played in was Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yes.
Was he in that one?
Yes, he didn't have that big of a role, but yeah, he was. He was Edward Scissorhands' creator.
That's right.
That
Right.
was his last movie.
He also
Weird
narrated.
movie,
He also
but I really
narrated.
did like it.
He also narrated Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was before that. That was maybe in the 80s, right? The early 80s.
Is that when he came out with Thriller?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, in the 80s sometime, yeah.
I think he died like around 93-ish, and it wasn't long after that movie.
Wow.
Right. Plus, wasn't Vincent Price, was he in the House of Wax?
That I don't know.
That I don't know.
House of Wax or House of Blood or so. He's in one of those famous movies.
One of those scary
It's
movies.
funny, a lot of these guys made a living just being creepy. I mean, look at Alfred Hitchcock. He never broke character, right? You never saw him as the ice cream man, right?
No.
No. Loved the movie The Birds. That was a great movie.
Yeah, that was scary.
He was in every single one of his movies. He did a cameo in every single movie.
Yep.
What did Denise say? 1953 is what? House of what? House of Wax.
Oh.
Hey, not bad for a guy who smoked weed for 30 years, huh?
No.
Yeah, pretty good memory.
That's why they call him Dave Starr. Give him a star.
A pretty good memory I got. Yeah. Thank you, Denise. Yeah, I remember that was a pretty good movie, House of Wax. That might have put him on the map. That movie might have put him on the map for scary movies. I'm not sure, but it could have been.
I'll bet.
I was never. Were you a horror movie kind of guy there, Dave?
Oh, I still watch them today. I love it when like October 1st is Wednesday. It's all horror movie month, and I can't wait till they come out with the 1935's Dracula and Frankenstein and I love those movies.
That's awesome.
Black and white ones. Either. Yeah, the black and white ones. Happy.
Denise,
she does.
She likes the horror movies. See, I avoid them like the plague. I can't watch them.
And we used to watch them on Saturdays after wrestling. It used to be the Creature double feature on Saturday,
right.
Right after wrestling. My mother would.
Yep.
My mother had 5 sons, and she'd tell us, "Listen, I'm going to sleep. If I hear one of you fucking mouths wake me up, I'm going to take a nap. And I'm going to beat your ass," she used to say. And you know what we used to do? We'd sit there, and none of us said anything, and we'd watch the Creature double feature for 2 hours.
Oh.
While she took a nap. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I love all those old movies from the 35.
I did see, I guess it was 1970, so I would have been like 14-ish. Did go to the movie theater to see Night of the Living Dead.
Ooh.
And that was an epic movie.
That's a good one.
Yes, that was good, yeah.
Yeah. See, I like horror movies though I like horror movies that's not a lot of gore. I like gore, but I like a plot too. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't like where they're just flashing you all the time, you know.
Well, it sounds like Bonny Lee Bakley's life was a horror movie. That's what it sounds like.
Thank God I didn't have her in the carnival. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, what even got her started?
I know.
I know she dropped out of school, I think, at 15 to be a model. And then I guess she figured, I'm a good-looking girl. She probably got a lot of attention from guys. And she was, I guess, smart enough to think, well, I can manipulate these guys to my advantage. And she became a good worker.
Yeah. Very good.
I mean,
a lot of money.
You gotta do something to survive. I mean, what are you gonna do? You know? She was a con girl.
I think she even had a whole sex hotline thing where she actually employed people.
Wow.
Which back then, I mean, that was kind of unheard of back then.
Yeah.
She might have invented it. Who knows?
What kind of girl? Jesus.
Yeah,
he should have had enough. He should have had enough common sense not to get involved with this chick, though. Come on.
I know.
I mean, at his age, he should have known better.
He was, oh God, it was the whole Bill Belichick kind of deal. He was 65, I think, 66, and she was in her early 40s, I believe. No, Belichick's a lot older. Belichick's 72. The girlfriend's 24.
20, I know.
God bless that guy. God bless him. You know, God bless that guy.
I don't know, Dave. I don't think that one's going to end well.
I don't think so either.
I think it ends well for him every night. I think it ends very well. Hey, you're only on this earth once, man. You can't come back. If you got the money, and you're going to, I mean, we know what it is. You know, it's not love, obviously, but hey.
All right, but there is, let's see, 2,060 to, there's 1,440 minutes in a day. And let's say sex for him is 7 minutes. Now you got 1,433 minutes left to talk, you know, to be with a woman who's a half a century your junior. What the hell do you even talk about?
I agree.
The 7 minutes of sex? I mean,
hey, you know, that's what they have porno movies for. You know, listen, I don't want to come off because I have 2 daughters, but I don't see, I put the onus on her more than him. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you know how many young chicks I got chasing me, but, you know, I can't sleep with girls that are younger than my daughters because I don't feel right, but I have morals and values. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I hope she's not listening, but the server who left that very nice placemat for me, her mom comes to Grandma Sally's every day, and I'm 7 years older than her mom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so not quite the Belichick thing. I mean, you know, but.
Wow. So what are you trying to tell us here, Benny?
I'm not saying.
You're trying to tell us, Playa. Like the girl's leaving you these messages. Like, do you get an extra cup of coffee for no charge?
I think she's just very good at her job. She wants me to feel welcome, you know, maximize my breakfast experience.
You get an extra sausage here and there?
Well, she offered to butter my grits on Sunday, so I don't know.
You know?
I don't know how to take it. What do you guys think? I'm not really sure. I mean, was she just doing her job?
Yes. Doing it very well.
I didn't hear her offer to butter anybody else's grits, but you know, maybe I'm just special.
Yeah, they are working for tips, but the way I always saw if a woman really cared for me is I bring her on the Ferris wheel. If she's willing to go all the way up to the top of a Ferris wheel with me and sit there, then I know she really cares for me. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it.
Interesting.
Bring her up to the top of the Ferris wheel, Player. Say, hey, you want to go on a Ferris wheel with me?
I will never. I'm going to tell this story on the air. So I guess it was around 1978. Great adventure in New Jersey. And my brother was dating this girl who, you know, they're married, 44 years now. But I took a bullet for my brother, and I went on a double date with her best friend, who was like not very nice. But I thought, all right, I got to be, I'm the big brother here. I got to do the right thing. Well, we went to Great Adventure, and this girl decided, to use the term loosely, decided that she wanted to go on the Ferris wheel. Well, and I'm deathly, and I mean deathly afraid of heights. And guess who got stuck on the top of the Ferris wheel for 45 minutes with this, you know, this wombat.
Wow.
It was not.
How long?
45
minutes?
It might have been a minute, but it actually was 45 minutes.
Wow, you must have been freaking out.
I died about 11 times over.
I bet.
Yeah. So no more Ferris wheel.
Wow.
That was it. That was my last ride on the Ferris wheel.
You're lucky. Did she try to rock the seat back and forth? Because that's when you really go.
She was pretty scared too.
Yeah. Well,
I was
a lot of things on top of the Ferris wheel in 45 minutes.
I made amends with a lot of people in my mind. I said my final prayers. You know, I did. You know, took out my
top
rose.
Of the Ferris wheel.
17 Hail Marys, and yeah.
All right. No,
thank you, God, for rescuing me. I got another 47 years out of life after that.
Safe to say you didn't want to be an astronaut when you were little, huh?
No. Nope. Not a pilot, not an astronaut. No. I mean, even climbing a flight of stairs, that was enough for me as far as the height.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
Just want to give an update too out there, crime update before we leave.
You just read
on.
Yep.
So on Sandra Birchmore, we did a podcast on her a little while back. The girl from who was treated so terribly by the Stoughton police. Trial will be coming up. Well, now they're finding out that a dog officer that was a dog officer in Stoughton was also taking advantage of her. He has since been fired from his job at the town hall in Abington. That poor girl. So I just wanted to give an update there. That one more person has also been implicated, the Stoughton dog officer. So good. He got fired from his job in Abington. Good for him. Lost everything, his pension, everything. Good for him.
Yep. I agree.
What is going on with that? Like, is corruption there? I was watching, I think was it David Muir? Somebody from ABC was, or Matt, whatever that guy's name is, Matt Gutman, was interviewing Proctor. And I mean, they were really sticking it to him. And like, he was oblivious. Like, I didn't do anything wrong,
Yeah. He doesn't think he did.
And like the stuff, like you were calling this lady a C word that you're supposed to be investigating. You're sending text to your supervisor, and he's doing nothing to correct. Like, what the hell's going on here?
I know.
Looking for nudes, and you know what? I might have mentioned this last week on the podcast, but I watched 3 or 4 because they were in short videos, 3 or 4 videos of when they arrested her at her house twice. She got arrested not once, but twice at her house. And I'm watching these videos with Michael Proctor there and Buchanan, and I'm like, just watching them to know what they did, because she didn't know yet. She's oblivious to what happened. Arresting that girl and just watching them, knowing what they did, just in the text messages alone, what they did is appalling. I don't know how this other cop has not, state police guy, never got fired, Buchanan. Like, how does he have his job? I'm looking at him in these videos. Agree. I'm like, how do you have your job still?
I tell you, I can't wait. I can't wait until Karen Reed turns around and sues the shit out of all these people, and she's gonna own Massachusetts by the time it's over.
Well, yep. And I feel sorry for John O'Keefe's parents, because they're just oblivious to. They only see it one way because their son was a police officer. But hey, what are you going to do?
We've talked about this before. Once somebody gets exonerated in a criminal trial, should they be able to be sued for pretty much for the exact same thing civilly? I mean,
I know.
To me, it's kind of like flirting on that whole double jeopardy thing.
I agree. It's weird.
Makes no sense to me. Makes no sense.
Nope.
I mean, under that scenario, then OJ should not have been retried. But I mean, nothing happened with that anyway. I mean, that judge said what we all knew, that he's guilty, and he ordered OJ to pay $33 million, and he paid the old Gatsungul. And
yeah, exactly.
Right, because he had his pension
of that.
He got the only income he had, I believe, from that time on was his pension from the NFL, from football,
right?
And the law prohibited from that being taken from him. That's what he lived on.
And then he had nothing.
Whatever.
Right? And what's his name? Goldman's dad got nothing. What's the point?
Yep.
Right.
No, I think once you're found not guilty, that should be it. You should not be able to be sued civilly for the same. It's the same crime.
I agree. It's absurd.
Yeah, I agree.
So Karen Reed should already be preparing her lawsuit for Proctor, the state, Judge Canone. I wonder if she should be included in it.
Well, we got to wait and see what the state's going to do. Right now, he's going through he had his hearing. I don't know if he has any more hearings before the probation, the civil board. So let's see what they do. This is Massachusetts, so don't never say never. It's a liberal state, so he might get his job back. Never say never.
Yeah.
In this state, never say never. I don't think he will,
no kidding.
But you never know.
I mean, it's been good for us. I mean, how many shows have we gotten out of all this crap? But it's just it's crazy.
Right,
it sure is.
Yep. Yeah,
and I'm sure we're going to get more when the Birchmore trial happens. I'm sure we'll cover that. But whatever happens with well, you're saying that with Karen Reed, that's not going to happen for a bit. The civil trial.
I heard not until actually right out of the judge's mouth, depending on the docket, it's so backed up, possibly early 2027.
Wow.
I mean, 27. Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Crazy.
That's how backed up the courts are.
Dave, wasn't Proctor also involved in the Brian Walsh case?
He was. I don't think Brian Walsh is going to be. I don't think he's going to get as lucky though. I don't. I don't know what's going to happen there, but they ain't throwing his trial. They ain't throwing that out the door. So because of Proctor, that's what his defense attorney is trying to do. Well, his defense attorney is trying to do that. He's trying to throw the whole case out, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen.
I'm amazed. Like, I'm thinking, man, if I could have an attitude like that, I probably could have been president. Like, if I could be Teflon.
I know, right?
But I mean, that wouldn't be me either. But like, how do you sleep at night?
I know,
knowing that you're screwing people over day after day, and you're supposed to be, in his position, you're supposed to be protecting people.
And that's only that's only what he got caught for. Right. There's no way you're going to tell me that's the first time he did that with his little group, his little other stadies in a group text with Karen Reed. That ain't the first time. No, because they were all too comfortable with it. You know what I mean?
Yep. And it was
not the first time.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like it was normal everyday behavior.
Right. Right. That's just what they got caught doing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it makes you wonder, like, before, I mean, in the non-modern world, before the internet, before, cell phones and all that stuff, before social media, how much shit was gotten away with, but not only by the police, but by, by everyday people that didn't get caught doing things.
Well, I wonder what I wonder is before all this stuff came out, these cameras and social media and everything, how many people were put away that didn't do the crime that was pinned on them?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
I know.
Yep.
I know.
Just to shut the public up and for the police to get somebody.
We hear a lot about them now because DNA evidence proves that they were the wrong person, but that's now. I mean, in 1967, I'm sure there were a bunch of people on death row for shit they didn't do, and they died in prison.
Yep.
You're
absolutely right.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, guys, one hell of a show. And I wanted to thank everybody in the live chat. We had a very lively chat this evening, as well as anyone who follows our show, be it on Want Radio or any of our audio platforms. If you haven't already done so, please make sure you subscribe to the Playa Entertainment Network so you won't miss any future episodes. And do not forget to check out The Bad Girl every Sunday from 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Funland Radio. 4 hours of excellent classic tunes. It's really very, very enjoyable. You can also find yours truly on Want Radio most Sunday afternoons at 3 for Benny the Jet. And I've included links for both in the description. So for the Bad Girl, Brittany Brown, and the Black Hat Man, Dangerous Dave, the Carnival Man, this is the one and only Playa telling everyone to stay safe, and we will see you next crime.
Bye,
Happy October.
Happy birthday.
Happy October. 31 nights of Halloween.
Bye, Mrs. P.
Bye, Mrs. P.
31 nights of Halloween start Wednesday.